Welcome to my first episode of Will and Way podcast. May I introduce today's guest, Rehet Kapoor. She's the founder of Rekap Creations and is in her senior year of high school. She's an avid artist and helps around in her school and community. Let's hear from Rehet Kapoor herself. Thank you so much for coming, Rehet.
Thank you so much for having me.
Before we start, one quick question. In 30 seconds, what is one really unique fact about
Every
you?
single day I have probably over 7 different tasks I have to get done for different parts of my life.
Wow, that
Yeah.
must be a lot to balance.
Yeah.
So now let's dive in. You started your first art journey at 10, right? Did you always like art, and why did you decide to choose art?
Okay, so growing up, I was always a super creative child. My mom was showing me the scribbles I drew on pieces of paper and everything, but she put me into art classes when I was a lot younger than 10, but I never actually enjoyed it. I was not into it because it was very structured. So we had a year when we moved to Canada, and that's when I started really getting into art. I was able to get a little bit more freedom with my artwork. So when I joined art classes here, I found to express myself through art. So I was able to show my emotions through color and put my own touch on already made artworks and the pieces that I drew, essentially.
That's great.
Yeah.
What inspires your art? Like books, feelings?
So I really love drawing either portraits or objects. I like to show stereotypical artworks, but which have a deeper meaning. So one of my pieces was a bunch of shoes and a disco ball to show the stereotypes of women and girls, but it had that meaning of not everybody wants to be in that stereotypical fashion.
What art classes did you go to? How did that impact your art?
I go to Sweetie Sarla art classes, which is so nice. I've been going there for 7 years since I was 10, and I've really been able to pick whatever artwork I want to do and put my own twist on it. Say I want to do a portrait, I can pick whatever portrait I want, but I maybe change the colors of it to represent something different. Or I pick an apple, I want to draw an apple, but I make it in a different light so that it has, again, a different meaning to it. I've been learning to do that as well.
Okay, you touched a little bit about how you change different lights and colors. So what is your reoccurring theme?
Last year, I took AP art in school, and for that I had to make 15 artworks in 1 year, all following one specific theme. I picked the theme of women, and I showed a timeline of a girl growing up and following different paths in her life. Some of my artworks included a girl in her childhood bedroom reminiscing on her past, or objects with shoes and disco balls and glitter to show stereotypes aren't meant for everyone and like the girly girlhood.
Yeah.
And then I had a bunch with hands to show friendship and sisterhood, and then it eventually evolved into a girl getting married, having kids, and eventually transforming into a beautiful goddess. So that was my whole timeline that I
How you described that was such a vivid story. You're using your art to showcase a story. I can't wait to see the real paintings.
Yeah.
What medium do you use?
I love doing all of them, but my personal favorite are color pencil and acrylic paint because I think you can get the most detail with those ones.
Do you like structure where you are given something to draw, or do you like to free draw?
So I always like picking out a reference picture, I would call it, but I don't follow the picture exactly. My first artwork was a cat sitting in a honey pot, and there's honey dripping off the ears. I still remember that one because it took me a good 3 weeks to do, even though it was one of the most basic artworks ever, just a white cat sitting in a honey pot. So I remember that one, that one's my favorite. I also remember before I joined art classes, there was a beach near our house, so we used to walk over there and I would just sit there and draw the flowers I would see, and that was really fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got inspiration from things around you?
Yeah.
Do you do your art in competitions, or is it just for fun?
I do both. So I start off making my artwork for fun, but then if a competition comes up and I see, oh, I have an artwork that fits perfectly, I always try to make it into something more meaningful with my writing that goes with the artwork. And I've submitted into multiple different competitions, like the Shiro's competition from Expressions Arts, the Inner Beauty competition from Expressions Arts as well, and the National Junior Duck Stamp Art Contest as well, which I got 3rd place in 2 years ago, I think.
That's great. What kind of art projects do you do in those competitions?
I remember submitting one which was for the duck stamp. We have to pick a duck from a list of options that we have, and we have to represent how you can conserve their environment. They're all endangered species of ducks, so it's like you have to write about the ways you can protect where they live. You submit it, and if you're first place in your age category, your art becomes the stamp on the forever stamp for an entire year. So people use it every time they ship something out. I was third place, so I didn't get to do that, but it was a really good experience because I got to learn more about my duck, which was, I believe, the snow goose is what I did.
Why did you pick that duck?
I thought it was beautiful. I spent 2 hours going through the entire list and searching up every single duck species, and I picked my favorite one. It was really hard though because it was a white duck.
Okay. What are some tips you would give for kids who want to learn to do art?
My recommendation is to start with making objects. Take a picture of a candy bar or something that's sitting next to you and try to draw that first. Always make sure your angles are correct, measure, take a ruler. Take your time with the drawing because that is really what's important for getting a perfect picture.
Okay.
And then coloring, you look at the lights, shadows, and make sure you're using the right colors when you're doing that.
That's really great.
I've always loved to do art. I found this as a break, essentially, from doing my homework or anything. I would just start doing art and I would reset my mind, essentially.
Okay, so art's your hobby.
Exactly.
What other hobbies do you have?
I love to read. I have a bunch of books and I have my bookshelf color-coded in rainbow order. I love collecting books as well. And obviously I love creating crafts. That's what led me to my business as well, crafting.
Tell us a bit about your business, Rekap Creations. How did you get the idea to have the business?
So it was, I think, 2021 in September or October, and it was right before Diwali. Okay. So we were on Etsy looking for Diwali gifts for our party, and they were crazy expensive, $80 or $90 for a cookie jar, plus shipping, plus tax. It was absolutely outrageous. So we were like, why don't I just make it myself? So my parents got me a Cricut, which is like a cutting machine. There's a lot of different brands of cutting machines, but I have a Cricut, and that was my early Christmas gift, essentially. So using the Cricut, I made etched cookie jars for our Diwali gift, and that's my bestseller on Etsy currently to this date. But it's a glass cookie jar and you have a design engraved into it. We made monogram names for the family last names on the cookie jars as our gifts. Yeah.
So you created your first one. Why did you decide that you could sell it on the internet and that other people may want it?
Everyone absolutely loved it. We gave it to 8 or 9 families and they were like, you should sell this. So I started selling them on Etsy, and that same Christmas I made mugs, matching mugs and bowls using my Cricut. And they also loved those. So I was like, why not add those to my Etsy? So slowly, because I started trying out different personalized objects, I started adding them onto my Etsy. As I start making new things, I start seeing like how people respond to it. That's why some things that I sell at my business fairs aren't on my Etsy yet, because I want to see how do people like the product itself before I spend my money and put it on Etsy, essentially.
Okay. How many items do you have?
On my Etsy,
Yeah.
I have around 200 different items.
How do you keep track of them?
Thankfully, the Etsy platform is super user-friendly, so I can see how much inventory I have for every single item. I can alter it however I want to, and I can make bulk changes as well. If I want to give a sale to multiple items, I can do that all in one go. So it's super accessible, so I'm able to manage it very easily, yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. How do you decide what to put? Because everything can be customized, right? You obviously can't put everything.
Yeah, so first of all, when I'm looking for my raw materials for my suppliers, I always see how many they've sold, how popular the item itself is. Because obviously there are sometimes like water bottles are super in trend, so I'll start making those. But then, tumblers getting more into trend, so then I start making those. Obviously with the whole Stanley thing that happened, what was it, last year or so? Those became super popular, so I started looking for similar things to that. So it all depends on the current trends in society. Cookie jars have always been pretty common. It's a very common household item where people can put literally whatever they want into it. I've gotten people who don't even put cookies in their cookie jars. They put like dog treats or candies. So like the most versatile items are also the best ones. Yeah.
So you like trends. What was your favorite trend?
My personal favorite product that I make is a little glass cup that has a bamboo lid and a glass straw. And I have one and I drink my matcha in it every single day. And I just like love having it because it's the perfect size and it's really cute and I can make whatever I want on it. So that's my personal favorite.
Tell me more about the supplier process. Let's say you don't have any supplies. How would you get it? How would you ship it? What do you need to know?
When I first started, I started getting my supplies on Amazon because honestly they have good quality and reasonable prices. Obviously if you get bulk suppliers, the prices are going to be a little bit cheaper, but then you have to consider tariffs, taxes, and all that new stuff. It does even out. If you are not looking for bulk supplies, get them from Amazon. Good quality. That's how I started. Slowly into that, once you're starting to get 20 to 30 orders at a time in a month or so, that's when you start reaching out to suppliers. One place that I used to get my stuff from was Webstront. They have good quality kitchen and homeware, which you can personalize as well. So my bowls come from there. You can look at there. They have good prices. I think their cookie jars are almost half the price that you get on Amazon. Look into that, and that slowly from there start Googling more suppliers that have specifically what you need, and then start sending out emails, figuring out what their prices are and how they'll get it to you.
How did you decide on suppliers? Wouldn't that be difficult?
Yeah, I had to send out hundreds of emails trying to figure out who would give me the best price. And a lot of times, the suppliers give you packaging materials as well. They ship you materials in the same way that you will ship it to customers. That's what I do for my cookie jars. So I ship to consumers in the same packaging that I get from my suppliers because they're really good quality and I know the cookie jar will be safe. That's why I always reach out to see what they offer as well. And obviously I compare my prices and I have to think about taxes and everything, taking it all into account to minimize my cost but also get the best quality for everyone.
That must take a lot of perseverance.
Yeah.
How long did it take you?
So I started looking for suppliers about 2 years ago when my business started to really kick up. Before that, I was just getting small orders off of Amazon. So I was buying locally. But because I started getting more and more orders, especially during holiday season and Christmas, that's when I started looking for suppliers. And it took me a good month or two to finalize my actual suppliers. And now I've been working with them for the past 2 years. So I'm always able to get good stuff in quickly.
So back then, how many orders did you get?
It was all through word of mouth, mostly. I would make a t-shirt for someone's return gift for their birthday party and they would really love it, so they would tell their friends, oh, you should order from her. So I would have orders of 1 or 2. But in the past couple of years, I've had super big companies order from me as well. I've had Morgan Stanley order from me, Visa, Microsoft, the University of Pennsylvania.
That's a huge deal to get small orders and then a huge company order.
Yeah.
Do you remember your reaction the first time you got a huge company order?
So I believe my first big company order was University of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And they ordered 25 pop sockets from me for their club committee. And I was like, oh my God, an Ivy League just ordered from me. And I was like, what? They're great for business, so they appreciate that I'm a young entrepreneur doing this. Because with every order I ship out a little note saying, hey, I'm X years old doing this. I donate 25%. I have that little envelope that I send out every time. So I got a message back from them saying, oh my God, we can't believe you did this. We love this so much. We'll make sure to leave the nicest review ever. And I just felt, I know that there's such a big thing, big corporation, big company, big school, but they took that time out and it made me feel special because I feel validated. Oh, they liked my product. I felt so good about that. I've had some crazy orders and they're always in the hundreds. Hundreds of bowls, hundreds of cookie jars, and it's so much work. It takes me maybe 3 or 4 weeks just to get that one order done because it takes me a really long time. Yeah.
That's great. Must have been a turning point in your business, right? You take a cookie jar. How do you customize it to put what they want on the jar?
On my Etsy, I have 7 style options, all of different vibes. One's a bit more elegant, one's more fun, and people pick their style. And there's a little personalization box where they can put whatever words they want to put in. And when they place the order, I can see that. I have an online software through my Cricut, which lets me change the personalization to whatever they want. I designed those styles myself a couple years ago, and then I've been using those styles ever since. After that, I send the cut to be cut by my Cricut. I have a special material called vinyl, which is what I cut it with. It's basically a stencil. Okay. So I put it onto the cookie jar and have this special etching cream that I can etch on the jars with. It's like painting, but I have to be super careful because once the cream gets on the jar, it's not coming off.
You created everything yourself?
Yeah.
Wow. You got company order for hundreds.
Yeah.
How long does it take you?
So I have my help. I occasionally bring in my dad to come and help me stick on the materials while I etch it. We have sometimes an assembly line going, especially for these big orders. But on average, one cookie jar would probably take me 30 minutes or so from start to finish.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are your favorite tools to use that you would recommend to someone else?
I really love the Cricut. I know that there are some other cutting machines out there like Silhouette, but I've just felt very accessible to Cricut. The platform is user-friendly and it's very easy to navigate, and it did not take me very long to get the hang of it. And I would recommend, I didn't get this until a little bit later, but a heat press is always a good thing to have because it can help you print on t-shirts. You can't print on t-shirts without having a heat press because it infuses the design onto the t-shirt. I did not start making apparel until about 2 years in when I got my heat press. But yeah, just be prepared. It's quite a bit of an investment. I think total, all my materials over the past 5 years, like my machines, probably around $500, $600 each. So it's expensive, but just be prepared. But it's a lot of fun. I love doing it.
Let's say I want to start a small customization business like you did. Can you walk me through the materials, the time, all of that end to end?
You're gonna want to start with your cutting machine. And there's a bunch of different brands out there like Silhouette, Cricut. I have the Cricut, it's really good. They all vary in the features you get with it. So pick whichever one is most suited to what you need to make. I know some people pick the Silhouette because it's more industrial grade, but it all depends on like how much you want to scale. Then you're going to start with getting your vinyls. So vinyls are like little sheets of plastic which have an adhesive on the back and they can stick on anything. You can use vinyls for making stickers, or what I do for cookie jars, stencil. They have different types of vinyl as well, like glitter vinyl or like matte vinyl, or there's like a bunch of different kinds for this. My recommendation, if you're starting as a beginner, go onto Amazon and get a variety pack. Get a bundle. That's how I started. Then you're gonna get your computer, which you need for your Cricut or your Silhouette or cutting machine you're using in order to connect to it and in order to design stuff. Typically, the cutting machines have their own software where you can design stuff and send it to the cutting machine itself. So use that, figure out how do I add materials onto the page, how do I design stuff on there, and just get familiar with that. Then obviously, if you want to start selling this on Etsy, create your Etsy account. It's very straightforward. Get your email accounts, create an account, and create a store. You're gonna pick a store name. You're gonna start adding in your listings. So in your listings, you're gonna need pictures. You're gonna need titles, prices, customization options, and just go through that whole template that they have for you, and it automatically creates a listing that would look really pretty on their own page, their landing page. And then after that, your orders are going to start rolling in. Start promoting it, obviously, if you can, on Instagram, word of mouth, telling people, giving gifts, so that you can just get yourself out there. Create a logo, create a brand name, everything. Just put yourself into the world. It's going to start very slow. In holiday seasons, I would recommend putting sales, like 15 to 20%, to get more customers in. And then as your customers come in, you're going to get their personalization, put it into your software, send it to your printer, and make it however, if you're making it as a sticker or if you're etching it in.
How much materials does it take to create something?
So I would always have these sheets of vinyl. In the Cricut, you have a mat, like a sticky mat, where you put your vinyl on it for it to be cut. So one sheet of vinyl can probably make 4 cookie jars, I would say. So just have enough, I guess. Okay. So 4 cookie jars, and a sheet of vinyl costs about $1 to $2, I would say. It is a little bit on the pricier side because it's plastic that they've designed, thin plastic that they've designed specially to stick on stuff and stay there. There's that. You need etching cream, so 1 big bottle, and you use with a paintbrush how much you need depending on the size of the design.
Yeah. Thank you. Where do you now get your supplies from?
I get my supplies from a seller in China, and I buy about 500 jars at a time. It's a super bulk order that comes every month. It takes a month to ship, so it does take some time for you to get your supplies in, so just be aware of that.
That's a really good tip. What are the prices that you want to be aware of?
So make sure that you're paying for your packaging as well, because a lot of sellers just sell them into straight boxes. The one I do gives me molded styrofoam for my cookie jars itself, so they come super protected, and I know I can trust them because not a single cookie jar has broken in the process. And just make sure you know how they're shipping it to you, because you're not going to want to waste your time and energy trying to get a refund for broken cookie jars. Be aware, the price that they're giving you is not going to be the final price because you have to consider taxes and tariffs as well. So be aware of that.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, how many cookie jars have you taken from the first time you started?
I've sold a total of over 2,000 items. I don't know how many of those are cookie jars itself, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's still awesome.
Yeah.
And coming to the logo, you have to create logo and brand and everything. How did you come across your logo idea, and why did you choose it? And how much time did it take?
I have always been a pretty quick graphic designer, I would say. For my nonprofit and stuff, I'm always designing, and I can get stuff done in like 15-20 minutes or so. So that's how long it took me for my logo. But I have had 2 variations of my logo. I started with a logo of a hand with a moon and some stars because like creations with my hand, that's where my thinking went. But later realized I want to show what I actually do in my logo. Okay. My new logo has a bunch of my tools that I use, like scissors or my, what is it called, a roller, I guess. Okay. I use that. I have those on my logo and it's more colorful and more inviting. I've had 2 variations of my logo and I've evolved and I've seen my new logo gets more sales.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see you've brought like some goods that of your customization business.
Yeah.
Would you mind showing us?
Sure. Okay. I made this hoodie, this crew neck actually, for Expressions Arts. So all of our volunteers have one and they have our names on the back. I use this with my heat press, and again, for apparel, you're going to need a heat press for it. I also love making these tote bags. So this is a different form of personalization called sublimation. This I didn't start until last year, and it's a little bit more versatile. You can print whatever picture you want on anything you want. I love making these tote bags, and they're always a huge hit. Then I have this wine tumbler, which I also sell at my business fairs. This is not on my Etsy as of right now because it's still in the developing process and not many people have shown interest in it, so I haven't taken the time to put on my Etsy yet. But this is one of my best sellers on Etsy, the bowl. This is the vinyl that I was talking about. That's a little sticker that you can put on, but it's semi-permanent, so you have to be really careful with it and make sure you're taking good care of it. And my best seller on Etsy is the cookie jar. So this is a little different form of the cookie jar. Okay. The background has etching on it. That's the engraving. And on top, I have a little design that I put.
Can I see? Okay. Tell me again, what are these?
So that is a vinyl design that I designed myself, and then the back is etching, the process I was telling you about.
Okay. Yep. That is really cool.
And then this is a bowl, again with vinyl.
Vinyl? Okay.
Yep. This is with sublimation, the wine tumbler.
And all of these, did you
I designed that. It's a wraparound design that I made.
How does someone tell you what they want?
On Etsy, they have a little personalization section where they can type either message they want or picture they want. And usually they will reach out through Etsy messages as well, where I can create a mock-up for them and make sure it's exactly what they want before I start making it. So if someone wants a picture of their dog on the mug or the cookie jar, whatever I'm making, I will always make the design on my Cricut software and show it to them before I start printing anything.
That's a really good foolproof way.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you gotten any challenges there that people say this is not correct?
Just recently, I had this one person give me a really heated message saying, hey, I thought that this was supposed to be painted on, it was vinyl, this is horrible, I'm gonna report you, all that stuff. So I explicitly showed them, I was like, I have it in my description. This is how I make it. I don't paint it on. It's written in the materials. It's vinyl. That's how I have to handle stuff. I have to stay calm and just show them, oh, I've mentioned everything here. And it just died down. She never responded to me. Nothing happened with it. So you just have to make sure you're not losing yourself when customers get mad at you for no reason.
That's a good example of the challenges.
Yeah.
What other challenges have you faced during etching process?
So with etching, you have to be very careful with it because as soon as you get the cream on any part of the jar, it's etched. You can't erase it, essentially. You can with paint or anything. Okay. So sometimes I've had this thing where I etch and then I leave my paintbrush next to the jar and the jar starts rolling. And it rolls on the paintbrush and then the etching cream goes everywhere and then that jar is ruined. So I've had to restart jars. I've lost a little bit of profit from some of those jars when I had to remake them. Or I've had a customer send it back because they misspelled a word, so I have to remake the whole product.
So what is one initial mistake that you made that completely changed your business?
I would say that's definitely how I advertised myself for sure. Initially, I was relying on Etsy's algorithm and letting people search my business name up. I never actually started putting any sales out or trying to promote myself on Instagram or any of that stuff. And I've had maybe 10 orders in an entire year. Okay. It was sad. But that's when I switched and started putting sales for holiday seasons, back to school. I put those on Instagram, made sure everyone knew about it. I told my friends about it because at first I was embarrassed about it. I was like, oh, I'm doing this business if you want to check it out. But then I was like, oh my God, why don't you buy from me? I started promoting myself to my friends. That kind of kicked it all off. And now I always make sure to have like my good prices. I'm matching competitors. I have ads on Etsy as well. So if someone searches even a similar product to me, mine will pop up. And that kind of got me more sales and got me more into it and more focused on it as a business than like a hobby.
How many sales do you have this year or last year?
I know overall I've had over 800 sales and over 2,000 items I've sold.
I heard you mention a nonprofit. Do you donate or do anything to help community through your business?
I donate 25% of my profits to an orphanage in India. I started this in 8th grade because I'm a part of this organization called Junior Asha, and we donate at least $50 every single year by ourselves. You have to create a personal project and you have to donate some amount. So I was like, I'm doing this and super successful. I know that if I donate 25%, it's going to help them a lot. I raised over $5,000 with just my business in the past 3 or 4 years. It's super helpful for them because it's going through their education for orphans.
Okay, that's how you decided on the orphanage. Do you also donate anywhere else or work with the nonprofit?
I'm part of one nonprofit called Expressions Arts. I'm the president of the executive committee of Expressions Arts. It's a nonprofit focused on bringing the joy of creativity to everyone. We have free workshops at senior centers, for veterans, for orphanages, for kids with special needs, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. We have free painting workshops to bring a little bit of joy into their day. And we also have art competitions, and we've helped over 20,000 artists in 67 different countries since 2020. So it's pretty recent, really cool. And every year we have the Pacific Northwest Youth Entrepreneurship Expo for kids to get their business out there, even for the first time. We've had a lot of attendees, a lot of businesses, and it's just a lot of fun, honestly. There's so many activities to do there. But yeah, Expressions has had a huge role in spreading my business as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
Would you recommend the Expo business fair for kids who are also just trying to start learning art?
Yeah, absolutely. The Expo is a great way to get your business out there or start even selling your art. I know we have a bunch of kid vendors who sell their artwork at these expos, and it's just a good way to build your network. So I would really recommend it.
You do art, you do competitions, you join the nonprofits and help. You are the president of the executive committee and you do all these other things. So how do you balance it all?
Every single day I have probably over 7 different tasks I have to get done for different parts of my life. So obviously 8 to 4 I'm at school essentially. Before school activities, after school activities. That's dedicated my time every single day. Obviously not on the weekends. But then being in junior year, I had crazy amount of work for my classes. It's like the hardest year. I have a bunch of APs I had to do. It was a lot of work, but I always tried to get my work done as soon as I got home from school so that after that I was able to focus on either my art or my business or whatever orders I had. And the thing with my orders, I typically wait to start making anything until I have 4 or 5 orders.
Okay.
And I make it all in one sitting. I take about 2.5 hours out of maybe some Friday or my weekend, and I try to save them for that so I have time to dedicate for that and make sure it's perfect. Then I do all my Etsy orders. I go to the art studio about twice a week, and I always try to get maybe 1 painting done every month. That's my goal. It doesn't usually happen because I like to take my time on it, but I try it. That's my aim. And I did not get much sleep last year. I averaged around 4 to 5 hours, so don't do what I did. And give yourself some leeway as well. But I just try to get all my stuff done as soon as possible so that I can relax in the night. Yeah.
What about your nonprofits? What nonprofits do you do again?
Yeah, so I have Expressions Arts, and through that I have Sketchbook Studios, which is like an after-school art teaching business where we teach STEAM concepts to elementary students who are like in kindergarten and first grade at Redmond Elementary School. Okay. We go there every Wednesday, and that is another 2 hours or so. And then the expressions work is like ongoing. Sometimes I need to make a flyer. Sometimes I need to have a meeting with one of these categories that we have, like community outreach, if they need to get some work done. That's like kind of spread out. It's sprinkled into my schedule.
You shared all of these great things that you do, but you still have school. What's your schedule like?
I learned the hard way. I used to be a huge procrastinator. I would say I still am, but I've gotten better. So my homework typically takes me around 2 to 3 hours on average just because of the level of classes I'm taking. I have this massive daily schedule that I try to update every single day, and I try to keep myself on schedule. I always focus on what's due first. If it's an assignment or an Etsy order that's due first, or if I have a competition I need to submit my artwork to. Whatever coming up first, that's what I always do first.
That's a great tip you shared. Prioritize. You have to get everything done and you know when to.
Yeah.
You can't fall back on your studies, right?
But I also learned stuff that I can use in my business. Last year I took micro and macroeconomics, so I was able to see how money works and how the economy works. And I was really able to apply those skills into like understanding like the cycle of my business and why it operates the way it operates, essentially.
Can you share one tip from that to anyone listening?
Even if there's a recession, there will always be an inflation again, essentially. So don't get down if it's like your sales are low.
That's great to know. And now, are you ready for our rapid fire round?
Go for it.
Okay. What's the first thing you ever created that was artistic?
A cat in a honey pot with colored pencil. That's my first artwork.
Recap of your Rekap Creations business in 3 words.
Rehet Kapoor Creations.
Okay. What is the wildest idea you ever had for a product?
I have a little Taylor Swift themed mouse pad. So whenever people drag their mouse over her face, it's really funny to me. It's like a little mouse pad.
What's one trend you'll never follow?
Barrel jeans.
Okay. One design element that's so you?
Pink. I love pink stuff.
Go-to outfit when you're feeling yourself?
A pair of jeans and plain black or white top.
Favorite color combo of all time?
Baby pink and butter yellow.
If your mood was a pattern today, what would it look like?
Flowers.
Okay, vintage or futuristic?
Vintage.
Bold or minimal?
Minimal.
Chaos or structure?
Structure.
Night owl or early bird?
Night out all the way.
Pen and paper or iPad design?
Oh, pen and paper.
If recap was a flavor, what would it taste like?
Cotton candy.
Okay. If you had a billboard anywhere in the world, what would it say?
Customized today at Rekap Creations.
Okay. What song would play when you enter a room?
Oh, this song from Julia and the Phantoms called All Eyes on Me.
Okay. If not a creator, you'd be?
Entrepreneur.
That's great. Where should the viewers go to buy your product?
You can either go to recapcreations.com. It's recap with a K, not a C. And you can go to Etsy and just search up Rekap Creations and it'll pop up.
What is one piece of advice you'd give?
Don't get discouraged when it doesn't go your way at first because it takes time to get to where you want to be.
Before we end, what is one thing you want the audience to take away from this?
I would say, first of all, it's never too young to start your passion. And anything you want could become a business and you can take it to the next level and dive deeper into it. So just like follow your passions and it's never too young to start. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming, Rehet. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
I hope you learned something about this entrepreneurship journey and what it takes to be an artist and open your own business. Hello again, friends. Thank you for coming till the end of my first episode on Will and Way podcast. I hope you found this conversation interesting and informational. Before you leave, please follow, like, and subscribe so you don't miss my next episode. Thank you.